We have an absolutely terrifying and highly urgent geological breaking news alert for you right now, directly from the Big Island of Hawaii, where Mount Kilauea has just violently exploded into its historically dangerous 44th eruptive episode. The live video feeds coming out of the completely restricted danger zone are absolutely mesmerizing and deeply terrifying, as the incredibly active volcano violently sprays massive fountains of completely molten lava hundreds of feet directly into the dark night sky. This is an absolutely monumental display of raw planetary power as the highly pressurized magma actively breaches the surface, creating a massive, highly unpredictable fissure that is aggressively throwing burning hot liquid rock in every single direction. The sheer explosive force of this completely newly activated volcanic vent is producing deafening roaring sounds that can literally be heard echoing for miles across the island, completely shaking the ground beneath the feet of deeply terrified local residents. To truly comprehend the absolute massive scale of this terrifying natural disaster, you must look closely at the incredibly fast-moving rivers of burning liquid rock that are rapidly forming right at the base of these towering lava fountains. This is absolutely not a slow-moving, localized event, but rather a highly aggressive and rapidly expanding geological crisis, where incredibly thick sheets of superheated magma are actively consuming literally everything incredibly unfortunate enough to be trapped in their direct path. As lush green forests, open fields, and critical local infrastructure are completely powerless against this massive creeping wall of absolute fiery destruction that reaches completely staggering temperatures well over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The radiant heat coming off these completely massive lava flows is so incredibly intense that emergency response helicopters are actually forced to maintain a highly elevated flight path simply to prevent their sensitive internal electronics from violently melting right out of the sky. While the glowing red lava presents an incredibly obvious and deeply terrifying physical danger, local emergency management officials are actually just as heavily concerned about the completely invisible and highly toxic threats actively pouring out of this massive eruption. As the molten rock violently collides with the atmosphere and nearby vegetation, it aggressively produces massive, thick, choking clouds of highly toxic volcanic gas known as VOG, which contains completely lethal concentrations of sulfur dioxide. These massive expanding plumes of completely poisonous gas are currently being violently pushed by the changing coastal winds directly toward highly populated residential neighborhoods, severely threatening the fragile respiratory systems of highly vulnerable young children and elderly citizens living miles away from the actual eruption site. Local authorities are actively issuing highly desperate public health warnings, urging anyone completely caught directly in the path of these toxic plumes to immediately completely seal their windows, stay entirely indoors, and utilize advanced air filtration systems immediately. The incredibly brave men and women of the local emergency response teams and the dedicated scientists at the Geological Survey are currently working completely around the clock under absolutely extreme and highly dangerous conditions to actively map the unpredictable trajectory of these massive lava flows. They are utilizing highly advanced thermal imaging cameras and heavily armored drones to continuously monitor the violent fissure activity, because the absolute greatest fear right now is that the highly pressurized magma network could suddenly forcefully burst open an entirely new, highly destructive vent directly underneath a heavily populated suburban neighborhood. Police departments have completely locked down massive sections of the local highway network, establishing highly secure perimeters to aggressively prevent overly curious tourists from foolishly wandering directly into the deadly active impact zone to secure the best possible social media picture. See, this highly reckless behavior violently forces exhausted first responders to divert critical life-saving resources away from true emergencies to actively perform highly dangerous deep zone rescues in an environment that literally wants to burn them alive. We are standing completely face-to-face with the absolute raw, unstoppable, and deeply majestic power of planet Earth, completely reshaping its own physical surface right before our very eyes today. The incredible local residents of the Big Island have completely historically demonstrated absolutely massive resilience in the face of these terrifying geological events, but this highly violent 44th eruptive episode is actively proving to be an entirely different and completely ferocious, unpredictable beast altogether. See, the situation is actively evolving rapidly every single minute, and you absolutely must stay completely engaged and highly informed as we continuously track this massive, terrifying volcanic crisis. Hit that subscribe button right now, smash the notification bell, and stay tightly locked to our channel as we continuously bring you the absolute latest critical emergency updates and raw, unedited survival footage directly from the fiery front lines of Hawaii.